The morning began as usual. Michael woke up earlier than everyone, as always at 6:30, when it was only beginning to get light outside. He lay still, staring at the ceiling, where a crack looked like the map of a non-existent country. How many times had he promised himself to fix it, yet never did? But now it no longer mattered. Linda breathed evenly beside him, calm and warm. He turned his head, looked at her face, so familiar after 23 years of marriage. Every wrinkle, every freckle was a part of his own story. She opened her eyes as if she had felt his gaze. "Can't sleep," she whispered. "Sure, I can," he lied. "Just woke up early." Steps echoed in the hallway. Ethan, their 14-year-old son, was dragging himself to the bathroom. Then the door of their daughter Riley's room slammed, 17 years old, rebellious, barely speaking to them for the last 6 months. Just a morning. A completely ordinary morning. Michael got up, threw on his robe, and headed to the kitchen. He set the kettle on, pulled out the frying pan for eggs. Mechanical actions sharpened by years, but today his hands trembled slightly, and he was angry at himself for it. He must not show it. Not now, not ever. "Dad, are you coming tonight?" Ethan burst into the kitchen, hair messy, wearing a wrinkled t-shirt. "We have a soccer tournament. You promised you'd come." Michael froze by the stove, not turning around. "I'll try, son." "You always say that," the boy muttered, hurt. "And then it's either work or something else." "I said I'll try." Ethan snorted and grabbed a sandwich. Emily appeared next, headphones on, distant, lost in her own world. Linda came last, already dressed for work. She taught at a technical college. She kissed Michael on the cheek. "I'll be late today," she said. "Meeting?" "Yeah." "Okay. I understand." A normal morning. The last normal morning. When everyone left, Michael sat at the table for a long time, drinking cold tea. His eyes roamed across the kitchen, the kids' drawings on the fridge, yellowed with time, magnets from different cities they had visited together. On the windowsill, the ficus Linda tended like a child. Everything so familiar, so his. At 9 a.m. he left the house, walking down streets he knew by heart. Every building, every store window held a memory. Here was the pharmacy, where he always bought heart pills for his mother-in-law. Here was the bus stop where he first kissed Linda 25 years ago. Here the playground where he taught Emily to ride a bike. The hospital greeted him with the familiar smell of antiseptic. Michael sat in the waiting area. Beside him sat an elderly woman. Across from him a young man with a cast. Michael Carter. He flinched, stood up. His legs suddenly felt weak. The doctor, an older man, motioned him inside. Michael entered, sat down. The doctor silently laid out papers on the table, took off his glasses, rubbed the bridge of his nose. "Mr. Carter." The doctor looked at him with a long, sympathetic gaze. "Stage 4. Inoperable." 3 words, only 3, but they struck like a sentence. Michael froze. Couldn't move. The world stopped. The doctor continued talking about chemotherapy, palliative care, supportive treatment, but Michael didn't hear. His ears buzzed, everything blurred. "How long?" he interrupted quietly. 6 months, maybe a bit more if we're lucky." "Thank you." He took the papers with trembling hands and left. The hallway felt suffocating. The walls seemed to close in. He reached the street, gulped fresh air. His legs carried him somewhere on their own, past familiar houses that suddenly felt foreign. Life around him moved normally. People laughed, talked on the phone. But his world had just collapsed. He didn't remember how he got home. He sat in the armchair by the window, holding the papers. 6 months, half a year, 180 days. And he would never see Ethan score the winning goal at the tournament. Emily would go on thinking her dad didn't understand her. And Linda, oh Linda, tears rolled down his face, unstoppable. He cried silently, the way men cry when no one sees. He remembered holding tiny Emily in his arms, teaching Ethan to skate, how Linda met him after a long business trip when he missed home so terribly. And now? What now? The day passed unnoticed. He sat there, watching cars go by, people walking, children playing. Life, ordinary, endless life, would continue without him. The key turned in the lock. Michael startled. Linda entered, kicked off her shoes, rubbed her neck. "You wouldn't believe this meeting," she began, hanging her coat. "This new vice principal is," she stopped. She saw his face. "Mike, what happened?" He silently handed her the papers. She read them. Her face turned white. Her lips trembled. The pages slipped from her hands. She gasped for air like a fish on land. "No," she whispered. "No, no." Michael stepped toward her, but she recoiled. "This is wrong. It's a mistake." We'll go to another hospital. The best doctors. She fell onto the couch, covering her face. Her shoulders shook. Michael sat next to her, held her tightly. What are we going to do? She sobbed. What are we going to do, Mike? Live, he whispered. Just live while we still have time. But the kids, Mike. Ethan, Emily, how will we tell them? We won't. Not yet. Let them live like always. Why burden them before we must? You're serious? She asked through tears. Linda, I have 6 months. Maybe a little more. And I want those 6 months to be happy for them. I want them to remember me as I've always been. Not sick, not dying. I can't pretend everything's fine, she sobbed. You can. You're the strongest woman I know. You're my wife. And we owe them this time. The front door slammed. Ethan was home from practice. Mom, Dad, where are you? Linda wiped her tears quickly, forcing a smile. We're in the kitchen, Michael said, trying to sound normal. Ethan burst in. You won't believe it. Coach said I'll be starting in the tournament. Starting? Dad, you're coming, right? Michael looked at his son, at his bright eyes, messy hair, that wide, innocent smile. 6 months. Maybe he would still see dozens of these smiles. Maybe he would say all he hadn't said. Maybe he would teach his boy everything important. I'll be there, he said firmly. I promise. For real. For real. Ethan cheered and ran to his room, probably to call his friends. Michael and Linda stayed in the kitchen, holding hands. Outside, the sunset painted the sky orange and purple. Children played below, a dog barked, someone laughed loudly. Linda squeezed his hand harder. We'll get through this, she whispered. Of course we will, he replied. On the table lay the diagnosis papers. Michael picked them up, tore them into small pieces, and threw them away. The papers could be destroyed, but the illness remained, hidden inside, counting the days. That night they both lay awake, pretending to sleep. People who spend over 20 years together can't hide anything from one another, not even in silence. Do you remember how we met? She whispered. At the bus stop. It was raining. You were shivering, and I put my jacket on you and soaked myself completely. You looked like an idiot. You thought I was an idiot? No, she turned to him. In the moonlight, he saw her wet eyes. I thought I'd met my person. And I was right. He pulled her close, burying his face in her hair, smelling of apple shampoo and something warm, home-like, their whole life together. I'm scared, he whispered, for the first time that day. I'm so scared, Linda. Not of death, but of leaving you. Of Ethan looking for me in the stands and not finding me. Of Emily needing advice and no one being there. Of you being alone. Don't say that, she cried softly. Don't. I have to. While I still can. While I can speak. I have to say everything I never said. I thought there was time. I thought I'd say it someday. But someday never comes. She broke down crying. He held her, rocked her gently, feeling something inside him shatter into pieces. In the morning he woke with a clear plan. 6 months wasn't a sentence, it was a chance. A chance to fix what was lost. A chance to say the unsaid. A chance to truly live. At breakfast he watched the kids closely. Ethan smeared jam across his cheek. Emily frowned at her phone, maybe fighting with her friends again. A normal morning like thousands before. But now each one was precious. Emily, he said softly. She looked up. What? You're beautiful. Very beautiful and smart. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Emily blushed. Dad, what's with you? Nothing. Just something I wanted to say. Ethan snorted. And what about me? Michael looked at his son, his freckles, his sticking out ears inherited from Grandpa. You? I'm proud of you. Every day. Ethan looked down, embarrassed, but Michael saw the pleased sparkle in his eyes. Linda stood at the stove, turned away, her shoulders trembling. But when she turned, she was smiling. That evening, when the streetlights lit up, Emily came out of her room and sat with them in the kitchen, for the first time in months, without her phone. They sat together in silence. A silence full of meaning. 6 months. 180 days. 4,320 hours. And every minute worth gold.